There we go. 1, 2, 3. Test. Everything is working. Yes.
All right.
Oh my God, I'm so excited to be with Heather from Dauzat St. Maria. I always spell it wrong because I'm not good at that.
we really labored over that name. It's our last names, Matt Dauzat, and I'm Heather St. Marie. And we couldn't come up with any other cool name. And it was like, let's just call it that. But we knew people are going to be like,
yeah.
How do you pronounce it? How do you spell it?
But I love that. It's so unique. Nobody else is going to have that name.
Yeah, all like Instagram was there, was available, Facebook, all of it. So it was like, all right, there you go.
I love it.
And it's an icebreaker. People go, how, what?
How do you spell your name? What is that?
Yeah.
We met, Heather and I met back in the day when the Hollywood scene was still like really happening, the Sunset Boulevard, right? That was like the early 2000s.
Yep.
2004 or something like that. And you had a rock band, Hyderabad.
That's
and
right.
You guys, we played the Viper Room together, right? And a bunch of other places probably. And you are now a duet. And it's just, I was telling you earlier when you got here that I loved the rock band, obviously. It was amazing. But I really love what you guys are doing now. Because when I saw you the last time, you were at a hotel cafe, and I actually had tears in my eyes because the songs were so heartfelt and so authentic and so good. And you guys are just amazing. You're both amazing musicians and singers, and just I was just totally blown away.
I appreciate that.
You know, so I want you to just share your story because you have such an amazing journey. I mean, oh my God.
So,
I'm have you take over.
Oh, all right. Let's see. Hyderabad started when, I was a teenager still, and Matt was a teenager, both of us, Matt Dauzat. We were in Louisiana, did as much as we could there, and then it was like, we got to take this, to California and just really give it a go. So we saved up all our money and came out here. And like you said, it was still the golden age of Hollywood for rock bands. I mean, every night you could go down the strip and there were people playing and you'd see friends. And it was just really cool. You could still, like, the old school flyering people to promote. It was great. I did love it. And I'm so glad we were a part of that. And we toured a lot. We reformed the band here and toured a lot. And I think all of that was leading up to where I am today in my life. Like I was telling you, when there's like, it's like an iceberg, right? And the tip of the iceberg is what everybody sees. So the bands that are out there on TV and they're getting the awards and they're in tour buses. There's a whole bunch of artists that are just hiding under the ocean level that are just out there busting their butts, driving themselves to shows. We joked about, we're the promoter, we're the marketing, we're the booking agent, we're the tour manager, we're the drivers. You learn how to do every bit of it. And we loved every moment of it. And I think that was such a life lesson for us. Like you said, some nights you're sleeping in somebody's house, on their floor in their living room, seeing how the rest of the country lives.
So interesting.
Yeah, I mean, you're just like, wow, this is weird. I wish I hadn't done this, or this is great. I love these people.
Or like, am I going to be alive tomorrow morning?
Correct, yeah. You just don't know. Or some nights you're like, I think we have somebody, but they're kind of weird. Let's just sleep in the vans.
Yes.
But it's all just part of the whole thing. And so we spent years, doing this and meeting people. And, part of, I guess, the type of personality I am, I ended up counseling people a lot. I think I have that kind of personality. People want to confide in me. And so even with Hyderabad, I'd have people telling me these crazy stories of like, your song Disconnect Me. This girl told me it meant so much to me. Years later, she said, you talked to me that night. And I said, I always wanted to be in a band. And I said, you should. We need more strong women in rock.
Yes.
And I didn't know that one comment, she got home late that night and had a stepfather who was physically abusive and really like beat her up or whatever it was that night. I mean, she didn't tell me the details, but she got in a lot of trouble and just said, I'm out. Because she thought of what I said and thought of the song Disconnect Me and just left and got herself out of that situation, which is so brave.
Oh my God, I'm getting chills.
But it gets better. Every night she would call her mom and play that song on the phone. And her mom would listen, and finally her mom got enough strength to leave that man and get out of that situation. And that taught me, that lesson taught me, like, number one, you don't know what your words are going to do to someone, positively or negatively, how they affect people. Like, you really have to think about your words. Number two, we're all here on this earth to be there for each other.
Yes, thank you. Yes.
And that's what it's really about. And so I've always tried to just put a lot of good out there and be there for people, be encouraging. There are nights when, again, I would always tell people in the music industry, you're on a totem pole. And some nights you're on the top of the totem pole, other nights you're on the very bottom. You just never know where you're at. And I'd remember that when we were on the bottom and the big bands would come, the ones that were super cool to us and would stand out and listen, or the ones who just would have nothing to do with us and tell us, you can't be in the dressing room, you can't be over here, you can't sell your merch near us. Just remembering how that felt. And so when we would be the higher end of the totem pole and the local bands would be there, I love that Hyderabad always made sure at least 2 people were out there in the front supporting that band, being there. Sometimes the bands were terrible. And, they come up, what'd you think?
Oh,
what am I?
yes,
It's like, I would always find something that I could sincerely say, like, man, your energy out there was great, or the way you handled the crowd, or, this song was amazing. You find something positive to support their dream.
Yes.
And I've always felt that way. And I'm not trying to preach. This sounds like I am, but I'm getting to a point here because, this year, August 15th of last year, I'll back it up a little bit here. I ended up, Hyderabad kind of fizzled. It was harder for 4 people to get out there on the road. Rock has just not been doing as well. It was harder to make a living. So in between touring, Matt, the guitar player and singer, and I started Dauzat St. And so we started touring as a duo, which is a lot easier. Hey, can you guys be here? Yes, we can. And we had a lot of songs that we had written that really weren't Hyderabad songs, that we just put them on the back burner for years. And then finally it was like, look, these can see the light of day, And then some of our Hyderabad songs have a whole different meaning when you take them and strip them down. And so it's just acoustic guitar, sometimes electric guitar, but really stripped down. Matt's playing drums with his feet live, and we're both singing, and it's all about the voice and the lyrics.
I love it so much.
Thank you. It's terrifying. I tell you that, going from rock, when you're doing well in a rock show when the crowd's so loud you can barely hear yourself, and they're just having a great time. You're doing well in a singer-songwriter venue when you can hear the bartenders putting ice in the glasses one by one. But as a rock singer, it's terrifying. The first show, I was looking at Matt, and I'm thinking in my head, we're not doing so good. It's so quiet. They hate us. And then after, it was like the eruption of applause, and it was like, we killed it. Oh, that's what that means. It was just completely different and terrifying. It's like that dream of going to school with no clothes on. You're absolutely just naked up there for people to hear every little crack in a voice or every little missed note. You have to be on.
And I think as singer-songwriters, I always feel bad when I see a show like that and people talking, and they're talking so loud that you can't, I feel bad for the band because I'm like, shut the fuck up, everybody. It's so disrespectful. Yeah. So that's a good thing. When everything is quiet, that means they love you. Yeah. That's it. Yeah.
It took a while to get used to.
Yeah.
I mean, usually I'd be like, oh my God, make some noise.
Hello.
Right. Now I'm like, oh, okay, I get it. And you always have the people that don't get it. They're out for a good time, they talk. But it is like, in that genre, it's very, disrespectful.
It's scarier, yes.
But yeah, it is. So we've been touring like that, and it's been opened up a lot because, as I was telling you before, there's people that, even family members of mine that, I don't like rock music. They would never come to a Hyderabad show.
Right.
They support it at home, but they would never come out. So now they're like, I'm going to come, and they're like, wow, you guys have great voices. Like, I've only been doing this for, since I was a teenager, but yeah, I can sing. You can hear it now. But, it's been great, and it's opened up a lot of opportunities that Hyderabad would not have had. We were introduced, I think Rick Springfield was looking for a guitar player, and someone brought up Matt's name, and he heard us. And then at the last minute, they were like, well, we have someone that's already in the little circle of people, and so we don't need anyone. But we became, a band on his radar, and he really loved us, and he's such a great guy. So he said, look, I do these acoustic shows, come and open up for us.
So
and
awesome.
Yeah, it's been amazing. I mean, that's the dream, people. Like, if you're on your own, you're your own record label, if you can open up for someone established, you've got a crowd there, there's not that stress of pulling teeth to get people to show up, and then you can just enjoy it. And, they've been great. His fans are amazing. I mean, they are just loyal. They're wonderful. They're crazy. And I love every bit of it. So we've been doing that with him for a few years. Last year, we were invited to open up. He was going on tour with Pat Benatar. And that was just a dream because little Heather, oh my God, she was like growing up, like she was one of those women that had the voice. And you're just like, I want to be her one day, So getting to open up for her and hearing her say, butchering the name, of course, because no one knows how to say Dauzat St. Marie. But, out there saying, aren't they amazing? And I'm just like, oh, I'm in heaven. So we were at the highest of the high with this, and on tour, we were in a hotel room one night, and that's when I came out of the shower, and I was like, I have a lump. I don't know what this is, so I need to get checked out. Called my doctor. Luckily, it was towards the end of the tour, and came back to LA and got checked out, and it escalated fast. Within probably 3 days, I found out that I had breast cancer. And so that's kind of where I was saying the preachy sounding led up to this moment, because I think touring helped. It was just like, take a deep breath. I could lose it right now and like absolutely go into a depression that I'll maybe never get out of.
Yeah.
Because it's terrifying, you know, and I had 2 weeks before I could see an oncologist to find out, like, how bad is it? Am I, like, got months to live? Or is this, you know, there's so many different types of breast cancer, you know, and so you don't know. There's so many different types of cancer. That was the lowest of the low. But fortunately for me, you know, I just took a deep breath and I was just like, this is like tour. One foot in front of the other. We're going to get through today, and then we're going to get through tomorrow, and we'll just figure it out. Yeah. Don't worry about anything past right at this moment. Like we do on tour, you know, you just don't have a place to stay. We'll figure it out tonight, you know. So that's that really helped me a lot. But went in, luckily for me, we caught it early. It was an aggressive cancer, but because it was caught early, you know, I had a very good prognosis. I mean, I think often about the women, you know, and the men who get these, you know, diagnoses where it's like, there's nothing we can do. There are, you know, those cases out there. So for me, I just focused on that, the positive. I said, you know, in that 2 weeks, I was just like, I don't want to change. I don't want to never smile again. I don't want to never be happy.
Love that.
You know, and so that's what I tried to focus on was, I need to stay Heather. I need to stay happy and positive. And luckily, like after, you know, I had a great team of doctors, and I felt like they just took me in their hands. They said, we're going to get you through this. You know, we're just going to focus on one step at a time, you know, and deal with all this. But what was beautiful to me and what I really, really chose to focus on was all that love and support that I gave to people over the years, just because I thought that that's what I should do, came back at me tenfold. I mean, initially I wasn't going to say anything because it's hard. It's hard to tell people about that. You know, it's hard to talk about. Even like right now, it's just kind of, it's a weird, you know, surreal kind of thing almost. But we were canceling tours and we were, you know, backing out of things. And so it was like, we kind of have to say something. And I said, well, you know, if I'm going to go all the way, I'm going to go all the way. And I'm just going to put it out there. Maybe I can help somebody. And so we made the announcement, and I mean, support and love just came flowing in, and that meant so much to me because we needed that. Matt and I both, you know, it's hard when you don't know what's going to happen next, but when you just hear somebody say, I love you, and you've been there for me, and you're a great person, it kind of gives you that boost of, you know, like, okay, I can do this, you know, and then, I mean, like a cousin of mine set up a GoFundMe, and we've got people from Japan and Denmark, and just, it was amazing to me, you know, that like they cared enough to even, you know, like $5, but it helped because it's expensive. And we'll get into all that later for all you musicians out there, you know, on the health insurance side of things,
please. Mm-hmm.
You know, but it you know, it was beautiful. And that's what I chose to focus on, how cancer is ugly and yet it's beautiful. And someone told me, you know, which stuck with me and became my mantra, you've been handed the most beautiful gift. It just happens to be in one of the most ugly packages. And I thought about that for a long time, and I said, yeah, you know, if I'm going to just stop everything for this next year and deal with this cancer, then I'm going to just work on me.
Yeah. Kind
of like a sabbatical.
Yeah.
And every morning I got up, I did yoga. You know, you think, oh, I'm going to do all these things, and then you get busy, and you check email, and next thing you know, the day's over. I was like, first thing, I'm doing yoga, and I'm going to meditate, and I'm going to focus on healing and loving my body. That's, you know, I felt at first like it failed me, but then I realized, like, you really see how strong your body is, and how beautiful it is that, you know, we have the ability to heal.
Yeah.
You know, and I just focused on a lot of that, and really dealt with all of that through surgery. And then, you know, we didn't think, initially they were like, it's early surgery, that's all you need. Went through surgery, and you know, they always have to take a lymph node. And luckily they did, because they found that it had already spread into my lymph nodes. So then it was, okay, now we have to deal with chemo and radiation and all that. So what I thought was going to be a sprint ended up being a marathon. But every time, I mean, I just said, all right, well, let's just do it, you know, and I had a good support team and messages, like, you know, when you would send me messages, I mean, it really, guys, you don't know how much it means and how much it makes a difference, you know, because typically, and I mean, I'm guilty of it too in the past, you don't know what to say, so you just kind of back off.
Yeah.
And I don't judge anybody. I mean, because there were a lot of people that did that, and I get it. I've been there. I've done it, But the people that were brave enough to reach out and gently, hey, I'm here, or just I'm thinking of you, those kind of the people that really, it kept me going, It really did. Because some days were tough. Some days I was like, I'm done. I want to give this back. Who do I give this back to? It's just, and, I'd get a little message, and it's like, okay, I can do this. I can find it in me,
Yeah.
And so... we haven't really made the announcement. We're trying to just take a deep breath. But as of Easter, I'm officially post-cancer. And now I'm working on the preventive side, which is 10 years of medicines and doctors just to make sure it doesn't come back.
Right.
But that's the great news, that now I'm a cancer survivor, and not fighting that anymore.
Amazing. And I think that it's so brave of you to just share that, because it's scary.
Yeah.
It's really scary. I don't know how strong I would be, to be honest. I admired you so much when you first came out with that, and you talked about it, and you shared it, and the pictures you were sharing, and I thought, oh my God, this is so important that you're being transparent about it, because how many people would not do that? I don't know if I would have done that. You know what I mean? And because you feel like, I don't want to let other people see me like that, or I don't want them to know, because then they're sending me that energy.
Right.
But having shared that and knowing how many people care about you, that helps healing too, right? Because
and I'm not saying this to pat myself on the back. It's more like, again, you don't know the power of your words. I put that out there, and right after that, people started saying, hey, I'm going to go schedule my mammogram.
Yeah.
And you'd be surprised how many women put it off,
We all do.
Yeah, it's like,
It's scary, You don't want to know.
Yeah, and so all these people, all these women, and, were like, I'm going to go get it. Well, I have at least 2 people I know that got their mammogram and found out they had breast cancer.
Oh, my goodness.
And the only reason they went was because of me. It's putting it out there. And I'm not saying I saved their life. What I'm saying, though, is... You don't
but you kind of did.
The power, the power of your words and putting it out there, the good that came back to me was that these people, they now know they're able to fight it and get better, because it's, I don't know. I mean, it's just a crazy world, and it's, unfortunately, it's very common.
Yeah.
And so we keep telling everybody, and guys too. I mean, guys have their own sets of cancers, and guys can get breast cancer. You really, all of us need to not be on autopilot, because I was, you just kind of only go to the doctor when you're feeling sick, and only when you're really, really sick,
Western mentality, because Eastern medicine is totally different. People go to just get a tune-up, get, checked out, and we just oh, no, we got this, because we're just so focused on work, do all the time.
Yeah, and that was a big lesson for me. I was absolutely, it was all day, every day, 10 hours a day work, and now I'm like, the power of no is amazing. I don't think I'm going to do that. I need time for me, and I'm going to make sure I still do all my meditation and my yoga, because, some people might go, oh, that's not for me. Even if you're just sitting, being quiet and listening to your body, it's spoiling your body. It's not unlike a massage that you go and get to splurge. You're just listening and tuning in to see what's there, and even just to be thankful. I started thinking about, how often does your heart beat every day? And you don't think about that. How often do your lungs feed you oxygen? You can get all woo-woo with this, but really,
it's true.
To positive affirmation. I spent the first half of my life, thinking, oh, my thighs are too big, my butt's too big, my breasts are too little, all the things that I don't fit into the right form to what everyone thinks a woman should look like.
Yeah.
And now I'm like, I don't care, I'm still here, and it's like, I was prepared for Frankenboob, and I'm like, oh, it's actually pretty, what they can do with science, and I'm like, I'm still around. I'm still able to walk. I'm still able to do things. And I love my body now. And I thank it every day, because, it sounds weird, but I do.
I love that, because it's so important. I think self-love, I have a friend who, she always puts herself down when her body she's like, well, my body's just fucked up, And I'm like, you got to stop saying that, because you live in this body. Yeah. It's your home, and you don't want to talk crap about your home, right? You want to make it beautiful and comfortable, you know, and accept what is. And so many times we beat ourselves up. I do it too. We all do it. Or we just like this self-talk, this negative self-talk. I'm not perfect. I have a wrinkle here. I don't look good today. Like all these things, they're so poisonous to our body, to our spirit.
Yeah. It's just an extension of this. I've always felt like whatever you're searching for, you will find. If people come here and say, "Oh, LA sucks, I hate it," you know what? You're going to have a miserable time
Yes,
here.
you do.
You will find all the bad. And if you say it's beautiful, even on this May gray, I'm like, "Oh, it's kind of cool."
Which I
It's
love.
fun. I know.
Yeah.
It speaks to the goth in me. You know, I'm just like, I just love it. If you try to find something good, you will find it. And it's the same with our bodies.
So true.
It really, I think it really is important to spend the time to just love, you said it perfectly, love where you're at. Because wherever you are, that's exactly where you're meant to be.
Yeah.
All the things that have happened in my life, I look back now and I'm like, that was all preparing me for this. All the failures, all the things that didn't go the right way, or I had to hurry up and scramble to figure out what I was going to do next. It all kind of was purposeful for this, you know, and again, it all depends on your outlook, you know, because
it does.
I was like, okay, I'm getting through this. I'm going to do it. I'm going to be healthy. And I tell my body that every day, thank you so much. You know, look at this. You're healing so well. And even the doctors were like, wow, you know, you're really healing fast. And I think that had a huge part of it. You know, the other part of it that I can tell people out there is really think about your nutrition and exercise, which in America we don't put first. You know, we don't, I think in schools, in elementary through high school, we really should be taught nutrition.
Absolutely.
You know, I went through years of touring and, you know, late nights, you're drinking with people, you're eating fast food or like, you know, a diner.
Eating in your car on your way to something from somewhere.
It's not good. And the last few years, I really got into eating healthy, eating, you know, nutritious foods, thinking about what I was putting in my body and working out. And it was really just for me to stay in shape and because I wanted to look good and I want, you know, we have photos and videos and we're touring and I was like, I want to, you know, just invest in myself. And what I didn't realize was I was investing in this whole health journey, you know, that I really think I did recover faster because I was in better shape before, you know, and people you don't think until it's too late.
Yeah.
You know, and the other part, again, while I'm talking about all this, you know, as musicians, you know, like now everybody kind of has to have health insurance, but back in the day, hardly any of my musician friends had health insurance. I always did. I was just always like, I need a roof over my head and I need health insurance because, you know, you're on the road traveling. You don't know if there's going to be a car accident. The van has a flat and you flip because of the trailer or something. I wanted to make sure I was protected. And I'd hate it. I would complain all the time. People would talk about insurance and I'm like, oh my God, it's so expensive and this and that. Because I was healthy and I thought I was just throwing money away.
Yeah.
And then this happened and I'm like, whoa. I got all my money back tenfold because just last year, what was billed to my insurance was over $500,000. I mean, every round of chemo was $30,000, and the injection, you know, the chemo was $16,000. The injection they gave me to help keep my immune system strong was $14,000.
Holy crap!
And you know, I mean, it's a lot.
That's a lot.
Radiation is expensive. You go every single day, and I mean, I think. Believe me, it's worth it. I mean, I'm around today, you know, and the care has come so far. I will always donate to cancer research because what I went through is not nearly what people 5-10 years ago went through. They're honing in on better ways of dealing with it. Yeah. But anyway, to get back to that, really you should have health insurance, everyone, and try to get the best you can afford because what I found out too is the care you get indirectly is related to the health insurance you have. Right. Not that a doctor's going to treat you any differently, believe me. But little things like for me to get in, you know, when I went in for the biopsy and I asked them, I said, how long till I find out if this is cancer? The nurse looked at my chart and said, oh, this is your insurance. They use the good fast lab. You're going to find out in 48 hours. And I said, well, what about other people? And she said, well, usually when people have really just the base insurance, they use the cheaper labs. And sometimes it can take a couple of weeks because they're backlog.
Oh, man.
So you're sitting there for weeks not knowing, where I had 2 days, you know, to find out if it was cancer. I mean, that's huge.
That is huge. And I wouldn't even necessarily trust the cheaper ones if they actually really, is it actually your test or did they even do the test? You know what I mean? Like, did they even, that's a very scary thing. And I have a friend, I don't know if you saw my post, Garrison, who just passed away. Yeah. And I guess his insurance wasn't the best either. And we saw the difference from going from one hospital to another hospital that was like a community hospital. Right. Totally different care. Yeah. Totally different treatment.
Yeah. And it's sad. And you know, like again, you need to invest in yourself.
You do. You really do.
With nutrition, exercise, health
Preventive
insurance.
For sure.
Yeah. And make sure you get the best, you know. And again, like with having insurance, and it still was expensive. I mean, I was like, no, it's hard for me to ask for help. People were like, let's set up a GoFundMe. I'm like, no, I don't want to look like I'm asking for handouts.
I get that, yeah.
And then my cousin said, we're
not a
all
handout.
back home in Louisiana and Florida. We can't be there with you. This is for us to help you. Please let us do this. It's like, all right, you know, and I had a pit in my stomach. I was like, okay, I guess so. But then when money started coming in, I was like, whew. I didn't realize the stress on my shoulders of like, how are we going to pay for all this? Because you can't work. You're exhausted. You know, you're dealing with doctors all the time. And like, there's just no way. And having those people helping you, you know, makes a huge difference. It really does.
Yeah, because you don't want to have more stress on you and then get sick again, because that also affects your body.
Yes,
you know,
stress
you're
is
just totally stressed out about it.
Yeah.
That, because I know people that have, my dad, including my dad, who was like, I can't afford that treatment, you know, and I'm sure he could have, but he was so worried about that.
Yeah.
That you don't want to have to worry about anything.
Right.
You know, just focus on healing. Let me ask you, do you think that, you know, how we always think like negative thoughts, like worry, stress, anxiety, all that can contribute to our health. Do you think you somehow created that? Subconsciously?
Yeah, I think a lot of it could have been stress.
The stress?
Because look, mine was a hormone-based breast cancer.
Uh-huh.
It was fueled by hormones, which on the plus side is it's a very straightforward treatment plan, and it's very curable. You know, like I said, I'm post-cancer now, and I'm on the survivor side.
Congratulations, by the way. I was so happy when I saw that. I was
know.
Yes!
But, you know, the flip side of that is stress creates hormones. I mean, it's all interrelated. And I do think a lot of it, working too much, not finding that proper balance between time off. Because, you know, you're in LA, you're like, I got to work, it's expensive, I got to hustle. It's always like that.
Yeah.
And I never took time for myself. And that's a stress. Being on tour, as much fun as it is, it's stressful, you know. And so I think a lot of it was probably stress, you know, and just worrying. And that's why, you know, I said, once I got it, it was almost like these blinders came off, and I was just like, everything's clear now. I need to really focus on me. I need to put myself first, because I don't. You know, I put everything else first, my career or other people or other things or the music. And now it's like, wait, let me stop and think about this. How do I feel about doing this or saying that or going here, and really find that balance of working and just being. Yeah. You know, and listening to my body, because you know we're all like so fast, and you don't think about what we're doing, you know, and it's just taking time to say, this is where I'm at today, helps a lot. Mentally too, the mental health is very important. I think now we're all in this rat race, trying to keep up with each other and trying to, you know, you look on, I mean, I've done it too, you look on Instagram and see other people out, oh man, they're on tour and I'm here dealing with cancer.
Oh my God, yes.
And then I'm like, wait, I'm not going there. I am not. I took a whole break and only got on social media when I needed to post updates to people, because that's just, sorry, but it's a great way to market, but it's also a cesspool for health, mental and emotional health. Because all you're doing is comparing.
Absolutely. You know? I'm glad you're saying that, because that's one of the reasons I wanted to do this podcast, because I think that people just see the glamour, the perfect life that everybody posts on social media, you know, and I'm guilty of it too. I don't really, you know, like to post a lot of, like, when I'm feeling down. I don't want, you know, I feel like I have friends that I can reach out to, but sometimes I post something just to let people know. Everybody assumes that your life is perfect, and, you know, that you're doing so well, and you don't want to complain and bitch, but at the same time you want to be like, I'm not feeling good today, or, you know, shit is not working out the way I want it to work out. And when you go on those sites, and I feel the same way, I see these bands, I'm like, fuck, where did I go wrong? Why am I not there? You know, like, why am I not on that tour? You can't compare yourself to someone else, because your life is different. And you choose exactly, we talked about it earlier, you know, you choose exactly where you're supposed to be, because that's where you put yourself. And whatever happened in the past is in the past. And wherever you want to go is really up to you, right? If you really want to go on that tour, I mean, for you. And that's what I admire so about your whole journey and where you are right now, what you're just coming out of, is like having that strength. Because I'm sure, like you said, there were days where you just like, you know, wanted to give up. And to pull yourself out of that, that is true strength and faith and just, you know.
Thank you.
I don't want to say willpower, it's the wrong word, but hope. Yeah. Maybe hope, you know, knowing that you have more to give to this world, and you're not done yet. And that must have been hard. Yeah.
Well, you know, for me, like, when I first found out, when I got the call, what ended up happening is you go through I went through my gynecologist. They sent me off to get all this stuff, and then they got the reports back. Well, my doctor went on vacation to Ireland or something for like out of the country for a while. So the nurse called me because she was like, I don't think you should sit on this for 2 weeks, but I don't know what to tell you other than you have cancer. I'm so sorry. And she was very kind, but here I am, because of circumstances, I'm getting this on the phone. And that was my first thought. I'm not ready to die. I'm really not ready. I haven't done everything I want to do.
Yeah.
But then I thought, oh my God, I can get into a deep, deep hole. And I learned that because, again, you don't know what people go through in life, right?
Yeah.
When I was very young, I was very depressed. I think my dad says he remembers the first time I ever said, oh, I wish I were dead. I wish I'd never been born. Almost suicidal thoughts. I was in first grade.
Wow.
And they found out later that I was diagnosed with dysthymia. And it's kind of like bipolar, except without the manic side.
Okay.
So I'll tend towards very long, kind of shallow depressions, if you will. I can still function. But I found out, like, after, here I am in college. I've got Hyderabad. We're touring. We're playing the whiskey, and which is huge when you're in Louisiana. You're like, oh my gosh.
Yeah.
All these amazing things are happening. And I was sleeping 13 hours a day. I couldn't hardly function. I was just really depressed. And I was like, something's wrong.
Yeah.
Went to the doctor and found that out. And so for me, I've spent a lifetime since then just going, I will not even let myself cross that line. Because if I cross that line, I'm in and I can't get out.
Yeah.
And I think, again, I'm grateful because now I look back and I'm like, that was really learning for what I was dealing with here. Because when I got that phone call, it could have gone one of two ways. I mean, I could have just curled up in a ball and then that would have been it. Or I could say, okay, you can get through this. You're going to fight it. You're going to be happy and just, brave face and, fake it till you make it, really. But then it kind of, the more you do it, the easier it gets. I went in after surgery and I've got drains and I've got all these things hanging off of me and I'm going in, I'm at the hospital and I'm kind of hunched over and I'm walking really slowly and I look at Matt and I said, everybody's so nice. They're all holding the door for me in the elevator. Matt's like, you're like a patient. You look like you're like a step out of the emergency room. And I'm like, oh yeah, I completely forgot because I wasn't letting myself go there. To me, I was like, I feel great because comparing, I did. But yeah, I was just like, I'm going to focus on only positive.
Yes.
And it works because you really, it was funny to me, like, even after that, I lost all my hair in chemo. They told me that. They said, you're going to lose all your hair. I lost my eyebrows. I've gotten really good at drawing them on, I think.
I love it.
Maybe I'm not that good, but I think they look
I didn't even know that. I thought they were real.
Thank goodness for YouTube. And I've watched so many videos on the eyebrows.
Oh my God, yes.
And getting the right products, guys, because I was drawing them on with this one product, and then it wasn't waterproof. It said it was. And after the day, I realized I've got half an eyebrow. And I was like, well, I got to find something new. Still don't have all my eyelashes, but I don't care. I've gotten to the point now, the old Heather would have been so self-conscious, and I'll say it, guys, everybody's insecure about things.
Of course.
I would have been so worried, and now I'm just like, I don't care. People have seen me at my worst, And so, like, again, going with that whole thought, they were like, for chemo, they said, you're going to lose your hair. The medicine we're putting you on, it's a guarantee. I said, all right, so I'm going to just take it, we're going to have fun with it. And I'm sure the people that follow us saw it. I put it all on Facebook.
Oh, I love the pictures. It was so awesome.
Just bleaching and pink and shaving it. And just like, I'm going to be brave to do the things that I never would have done otherwise. But knowing you're not going to have hair.
Right, it's like, falling out anyway.
So. If you've ever wanted a mullet or a rat tail, go for it, So we did it all. And I had pink hair. And I was like, well, it's about time. I need to go shopping for wigs. So I go to this wig store, and they're like, they gave me a little stocking cap, and I run my hand through my hair to put it on, and that's when my hair decides it starts falling out. At the wig store, y'all. Perfect timing, right?
Oh, man.
So, my hair's kind of coming out, and they were so sweet. It was like I'm rolling it up, kind of throwing it away, and they're like, don't worry about it. So I was like, I want something fun. Let's just go for it. I'm trying on purple wigs. I'm trying on blue wigs. And, I said, as an entertainer, I figured I'm going to keep this way beyond cancer, And so I just want to spend a lot of money on a really good wig. Not tons, but, I want to get a human
something
hair
high
wig.
Quality. Yeah.
It's going to last for a while. Yeah. So the little guy's helping me out, and I said, okay, well, I mean, this is a lot of money. Let me think about it. I'll come back tomorrow. And I was trying to decide between a really long lavender kind of mermaid wavy hair and then this really fun blonde short thing. And I'm like, okay, well, let me think about it. I'll come back tomorrow. I came back, and this is one of those stories of just how beautiful cancer can be. I came back, and he said, I thought about everything you had said yesterday, and I just couldn't get you off my mind. So I took a blonde wig home, and I cut it and I colored it for what I thought would look good for you. And this is the wig. I mean, I just now curled it back up. It's a little too curly, but it'll fall. But yeah, he cut it and colored it. And I mean, I put it on. I'm like, this is the most perfect wig. You nailed it.
Oh, my God.
But I thought, how beautiful.
Oh, sweet.
Yeah. Something as ugly as cancer, brings out some of the most beautiful moments between humans. Like, I met this guy the day before, and he actually did that for me. And, if you're listening, James the Gemini on Instagram, he's a sweetheart, and he does beautiful wigs, and I've told everyone, go to him.
James the Gemini?
James the Gemini. I mean, and it just touched me so much that somebody would do that for me, I was coming out of radiation one day, and I had just the beanie on and no hair, and this woman starts screaming at me across the street in the car, and she's like, hey! And I'm like, yeah. She goes, that's where I went to radiation. That was my doctor. You were in good hands, and I'm going to pray for you. What is your name? And I was like, Heather. And she said, I'm going to keep you in my prayers. And I said, well, what is your name? I'm going to pray for you. You're on the other side, but, I want continued health. I know. And then this woman's walking down the sidewalk, and she looks at me, and she says, I'm headed there, too. And she says, look, I'm a year out, and look at my hair. And it was not very long, but she says, don't worry, your hair's going to grow back. And it was so beautiful, the support of women who've been through this journey, who are like, I don't know you, but I'm keeping you in my thoughts, and I'm going to support you and encourage you, and it's just beautiful.
Oh my God, it's so beautiful.
Yeah. And then people ask, if I had a time machine, would you take it all back? And I'm like, honestly, no.
Wow.
I mean, it's easier to say knowing I have a curable cancer and not an incurable cancer, but I don't think I would change it. Because it really has stripped everything down to the most fundamental parts of life and why we're all on this earth. For each other. And that's really now my mission, is just love and just to be there for other people. And, I've always tried to do that through music, but now I'm like tenfold want to do that. And if I make you cry at a Dauzat St show, then I've done my job, because I want to bring out the most beautiful, powerful, sad, happy moments in life. That's because we're all going through them.
We are. And I think I love everything you said, because, again, we're so ashamed sometimes of our feelings, or, that we're maybe depressed, or we're anxious and we're worried and we don't want to share that because we think we're the only ones, or we feel alone. Loneliness is a huge problem, which I believe leads to depression and leads to suicidal thoughts, And I think many of us have struggled at some point or another in our lives with depression, deep depression, and also possibly suicidal thoughts. I know I have, and I know you have. Yeah. And most of us have, and there's no shame in feeling that way, because life.
Right. Yeah.
It's not always easy, but finding a way out. Like, you are the perfect example. When you go through something like that, you could have like you said, you could have gone the exact opposite and been in a dark place and feel sorry for yourself and have no support or not accept any support, right? Yeah. And because you really focused on all the good, I think that really helped so much for you to heal.
It really did. Yeah.
And look at you now. You're so, I just love how you're like, I love my body now. I don't care anymore. Because that's how we should all feel about our bodies, right? And ourselves. Yeah. We're so consumed or so... And me too. I'm so vain all the time. I'm like, oh my God, I don't look good. No, that video is not going to go up. I don't... Yeah. And it's like, people probably don't even care. They don't see what you see, what we see. And it's just be who you are. And that's just such a freer life to live. Yes. Than trying to always be perfect and be, in the best shape ever, and it's so much work that doesn't need to be.
Well, and to be honest, it's so much work for something none of us can ever attain. Exactly. No one walking this earth is perfect. Yes. And yet we all strive for it.
We strive for it so much.
And I find it's funny thinking about how life was when I was growing up. everyone conformed so much. At least, where I was in a small town in the South, but I think across most of America. You'd have these waves of clothing trends, let's say.
Yes.
Everyone was wearing this, and then everyone was wearing that, and we all conformed. But at the same time, I don't think we had as many of the issues as we do now, where now we're free to have pink hair, tattoos, piercings, or nothing. No one even bats an eye. But with all this freedom comes this idea that we have to be so perfect and so unique that it's almost unattainable.
Yeah.
And, with social media, you add in there that we're constantly comparing and how can I outdo this one? And, I only got this many likes. It just eats away at us.
Oh my God, that whole they were talking about possibly getting rid of the likes on Instagram.
That would be good.
Because I think people measure their self-worth on likes.
Yes.
And I do it sometimes too. I'm like, I only got 14 likes. What's up? What did I do wrong?
Right. Yeah.
And it's like, well, what have I become?
Yeah.
Since when do I care about that? And we're all, I guess it's just the society we live in now.
Yeah.
It's all about the likes and the hearts we get and the views we get. And at the end of the day, how many people bought your album?
Right.
How many people do you actually talk to? Do you have all these friends on Facebook, right? That half of my friends, I don't even know them.
Right.
I see them in a club. We don't even talk, right?
Yeah.
We don't even say hello to each other. Oh my God, we're friends on Facebook, but
Correct. Yeah.
It's
and that kind of goes back to as social as we all are now, we're all lonely. We're all living in this little bubble.
Yes, we are.
Yeah.
We are. And I think coming together and what we're doing right now, just like having a conversation in person.
Right.
Because there's a huge difference just talking through a screen, which is nice too. It's good to be in touch with my mom in Germany and stuff like that. But actually having that human connection that we all crave, because we were meant to be in tribes.
Right.
We were meant to be together and get our hands in the soil and
Yeah.
plant flowers or whatnot. Like do sports together. Something that really brings us all together and makes us feel more alive and have purpose and bring our passion out, and
Definitely.
connecting with Earth, because we're so everything is like
yeah. And again, that's another thing that cancer taught me. I mean, going out, and when I was finally able to go out and go hiking, which LA, I love that. We have so many beautiful hikes, so many places you can go and just enjoy nature, and no one does. I mean, and I'm guilty. I lived here 3-4 years before I even went to the beach to see the ocean. I mean, because you just jump in, you're like, oh my God, it's so expensive here. Work. And now I'm like, it's been like a little thing. It's been great, actually. Some Sundays, Hyderabad's drummer, Phil, will call up, and I've reconnected with him again, which is awesome because of all this, and it's like, let's go hiking. How do you feel today? Or you think you can do it? Yes, I'm going to do it. Yes. And we go, and it's been beautiful to get back into nature, to get back with people and reconnect, and that's, again, one of the things I'm focusing on. It took cancer to hit me in the face and go, Heather, you have real people that care about you. Make the time to hang out with them. Make the time to visit and do things that, growing up, we used to do that. We didn't have all these
all
things.
The time, yeah.
Yeah, now it's like you're so busy before you know, it's like, oh my gosh, it's already 6 o'clock. Whoa, the day flew by.
And then you get so stressed because oh my God, sometimes you feel like you haven't done anything. Even though you have, but it's like little things like resetting a password, right? On some stupid site that you forgot, or because they had to do something unique that your password couldn't be used. And it's all these little things. Sometimes I'm just like, oh my God, I just want to do music.
Right.
I just want to do the one thing I'm supposed to be doing. I don't have time for that, And it's very stressful. I'm so happy to hear all that and to know that you healed yourself pretty much, and you're right, like the whole us feeling so isolated. I think that conversation is the first step to just really and reaching out and accepting help.
Yes.
Knowing that you're not alone.
Yeah.
Because we all think we are alone.
And needing help doesn't mean you're weak.
No.
It's actually a stronger person who can reach out and say, you know what, I need help.
Exactly.
I've got some stuff going on that's just too much for me.
Yeah.
And it took cancer for me to learn that, how to ask for help and it's okay to be vulnerable.
Yeah.
Because we all are.
Yeah.
It's, and people want to help. And it's been beautiful for me to see that and know how many people out there really, truly care about me and love me. And, everyone can say that.
Yeah.
There's somebody out there that loves you.
Yeah.
And again, and if you don't feel like there is, then go out and meet people. I started making a point of smiling at people, saying hello in the hospital. That's happened to be where I've been spending my time. But, wherever you are, the grocery store, say hello. Just go up to somebody. Who cares? They might think you're crazy, but who cares?
Talk to someone in line. Sometimes I do
Yeah.
that. Not always. Sometimes I notice I'm just all in my own world too, on my phone, whatever. But I try not to do that, because when I see people, everybody's just like on their phone. Nobody pays attention. It's like we're out and about right now.
Yeah.
It's like, hey, how you doing? What's up? Like
Yeah.
it can take one smile that you make their whole day.
Right.
In the park with Bolt, I love when I walk my dog and we just walk, and I see some people do just like, certain people that don't even look up, well, once in a while they look up, and then I see them like looking at Bolt and smiling, and I'm like, oh, he made someone smile, or like I smile at them. And sometimes people get weirded out by that. They're like, why did you smile at me? What's going on? What does she want? Right? But that can really just like make someone's day, I think, and just that connection, that eye connection, people just like trying to avoid each other. I don't really know where that comes from or why people do that, but
yeah, I don't know. I mean, and I'm guilty of it too, but I've tried really hard, because you don't know what someone's going through.
Yeah,
I'm sure I can tell you all stories of me out somewhere and somebody just smiling, and like, the hair. This is a huge icebreaker. I think everyone should have pink hair once in their life. It's fun.
I know, I miss my pink hair.
Because it is an icebreaker.
Yeah,
and so people would say like, oh my gosh, I love your hair. And you don't know that one little comment sometimes was everything to me, because A, they didn't know I didn't have hair, that it's a wig,
right?
That I'm going through cancer at the time, but it was just the fact that they just said, hey, I love your hair, made my day brighter. And, it's important. That's what we're here for. Definitely.
So awesome. So I have to ask you, I ask everyone that. But I'm always curious, like, what people's pet peeves are, because it's...
I think my biggest one is when someone has a measure of success that they're not grateful for. Mostly I see it there's a few musicians out there that are in that little tip of the iceberg, and, or a few actresses or actors that they just don't come off as humble, and just, not that everyone should be humble, but just be grateful for what you have, because behind everybody, there's a team of people that have helped boost them up to get there, me included. I mean, I've had so many people in my life that I'm grateful for to be in this position that I'm in today. So many, not just the medical, but like just everything in my life. Teachers and people believing in me to get out of my little hometown and go to college, and then in college, people believing in me enough to say I can do in a band and go move to LA. And so for me, the biggest pet peeve are when people don't truly recognize that it wasn't just them, their success, and they just feel like they're entitled. That gets to me. That irks me. It just kind of, that's my biggest pet peeve, I think. And you should hear me when I've had a few drinks, because then I'll be like, oh my God.
I know, right? Like, don't get me started. Here's my top 20,000.
Right. But today I'm a little more, got mint tea.
Yeah, all chill.
No tequila.
Good vibe,
right.
Okay,
but
so we got to bring the tequila out the next
right.
time.
No, you don't want to see
it's
that.
That's a different podcast.
Right. But usually I'm just like, oh my God, I would love to see that person fail. Just to show them what's up. Knock them down a few.
Well, I do think that you should be humble. You should always be humble and know where you came from, and always appreciate the people that brought you up, because you're right. Sometimes people are like just so, I did this all myself, and nobody did that by themselves, because it's just impossible. It really is impossible. There's always someone else who's helped you, and no.
I guess that one, and then my other one would be the lack these days of positive female role models, especially in music. Mm-hmm. Because growing up, I think I had like Pat Benatar, Cyndi Lauper. All these great quirky artists who just had great talent. And then, I'm not going to blame MTV, because they were great, but it changed things. Right. I love to say that post MTV, there would have been no Janis Joplin. There would have been no Mama Cass. Amazing vocalists, but they didn't look the part.
Right.
That changed everything to where looks got more important than talent. And now when I look out sometimes and see, artists, and I'm just like, that's not it. Sexual is not sexy. You're hypersexualizing everything, and I think that these young 11 and 12-year-old girls who are at a very impressionable age should not be thinking about how sexy they look, but that's what they're being told by all of us, by pushing these people forward, and it's just like, you don't have to show off a lot of skin to be really sexy.
Yeah.
And you can have talent and confidence, and there's a difference between, bitchiness and confidence.
Yeah.
You can be like, I always love to tell people, I actually like to be the underdog. When I'd go out on tour with Hyderabad, we were at this one place, and the person, it was like this other act, and the girl was in the band, and she's got the really short mini skirt, and it was just like, oh, are you dating someone in the band? And I was like, yeah. Are you the merch girl? Yeah, I am. And I just left it at that. And I was doing my stuff, counting my shirts in, and she's just like, whatever, because I'm in the band. I didn't say anything. And then we got up there, and I performed, and we threw down, and we had a great show. And she's like, you didn't tell me you were in the band. I was like, you didn't ask. It was like, yeah, I am.
I love that.
I am also dating. I'm a lot of things. I'm a driver too. Yeah, and it's like, but I don't have to, I just don't like, I want to be seen for my talents and my skills. I don't want to be seen for how short my skirt is or whatever it happens to be.
Yeah.
So that's another pet peeve of mine. This girls, you don't have to sell it to sell it.
I think that when you're in a band, and I think that's why I did the whole blood thing when I first started Artist Daughter, because I really didn't want to be that girl in the miniskirt, where I was like, oh, I just gotta look cute on stage. I'm like, no, that's not who I am. I mean, I like sexy, but in a way that is like a little bit provocative, a little bit like, disturbing, a little bit.
Sure, it's you.
Still me, but I did, so it was funny when I would come off stage covered in blood, looking pretty like, I just killed someone. And guys would come up like, you're hot. And I'm like, what's wrong with you? But that's like, to your point, it's like you're not trying. It's just something. And I think it's so much sexier when someone is on stage and they just like doing that thing.
Right.
Because that's sexy to me. That is like, you're not trying so hard. I've seen girls that are just like, they constantly have to fix something, or they're trying so hard to just be perfect. And then it just comes off so phony.
Right.
And so you're just the typical girl that nobody wants to be, really. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
The guys want to maybe have sex with for one night, but nobody wants to be with. You're not that confident, powerful woman on stage that is like Madonna, right? She was very sexual, but at the same time, she was doing her thing.
Right.
She was just like, she had a message and meaning. And now when I see a lot of, I almost want to say dancers, because a lot of the singers today, they just like acting almost like strippers, which I have nothing against strippers.
Right.
But I think that, what are you, a stripper or, and people like Beyonce, you don't have to do that. Yeah, it's like we all know you're amazing. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know. I agree with you. It's a fine line,
right?
And especially for kids, because I teach, and I have like some students where I'm like, you shouldn't be singing that song, or you shouldn't be dressing like that. Like, I don't know why your parents would like. Or the twerking, you shouldn't be twerking.
Yeah, as adults, I'm fine with it. That's what
I think. It's a fine line,
When it gets into the little kids are looking up to you as a role model, you really need to think about what message you're putting out there.
Absolutely.
And I'm not blaming all the artists completely either, because we went through the whole thing. That's why Hyderabad decided not to get the record deal. We went into that whole thing, and immediately they were like, you need to dress with sexier, you need your lyrics to be sexier, we're going to rewrite it. And I'm like, you know what? No.
That band member needs to go because they don't fit in the band. I was like, no.
It was miserable. And for me, I was like, if you're going to rewrite my lyrics to sound sexier, then it's not me anymore. It's not my words. It's not my meaning. It's not what I want to put out there. I'd rather go back to New Orleans and make a buttload of money in a cover band. Those guys make tons of money. If I'm going to sing someone else's words, I'm going to actually go and do that instead of what you want me to do.
Yeah.
So we opted to just do our own thing our way. And that was right for us.
Yeah.
But I guess my pet peeve is just, think about the next generation and the message you're giving them.
Yeah.
Because I'll drop F-bombs on stage if it's an adult thing in a rock club. But if I'm at like a singer-songwriter and there's kids there, I kind of have to watch and tone it down. You make it family friendly.
Right. Which I hate. Sometimes I have a song that's fuck you for fucking me, not fucking me back. It's like it's a lot of fucks. So we really wanted to play that song. We played at like an afternoon in Taft, somewhere out there. And it was funny. I said, kiss me if you, it's kissing or hug. I said, hug. I'm going to hug you, hugging your back. And it was so funny. I'm like, this is just wrong. And it feels wrong. But we had to because they told us we should, And I think it's not, I don't know if I really disagree with like some parents are so like, oh, the kid can't say this, they can't say that because they hear it anyway, you know. But it's kind of just, again, this fine balance between knowing what's right and what's wrong, and when there's a perfect time to let go and just throw a bomb. What are some of your favorite artists at the moment?
You know, I really, really am liking Fink. Love Fink. He was a DJ in Europe, and then started doing he started doing I don't even know what you would describe it as, because it's almost blues, it's almost singer-songwriter with a little bit of electronica in there. He's amazing, really, really good. I'm trying to think of some others. I mean, I run the gamut here. You know, Brandy Carlisle, amazing. We went to see her.
She's amazing. Yeah, I saw her at the Grammys.
Oh my gosh! So like, the week I found out I had cancer, she played at the Greek Theater. And a friend of ours was like, I have tickets. Does anybody want to go? And, you know, Matt said, this is what's going on right now. I think we need to go and have a night. She's like, absolutely. And it was the most magical night, being out in the stars, listening to her. It was unbelievable. You know, and she's kind of got that whole, like, singer-songwriter, almost bluegrassy feel.
Her voice is
just
amazing.
and such smart lyrics.
Yeah.
You know, gosh, let me think about who else I really am digging right now. Nothing But Thieves are really good.
Oh, I have to check them out.
They're like pop rock, you know, a little more on the pop side, British band, British Brit rock. Love them. The singer is so creative. I mean, his lyrics, like this one line where he's singing, he says, I'm just a shadow of a ghost. And I just love that line.
Yeah.
I mean, it's really smart lyrics, but really good guitar parts, just ripping. It's good. I like them a lot. So,
when you guys write lyrics, because you're a really amazing songwriter too, when you guys write a song, how does the process normally work for the two of you?
Typically, most times, you know, Matt will come. He's got so many ideas of little guitar things. I mean, thank goodness for, you know, the iPhone with the voice memos. And he'll play me like, you know, this little guitar line or something. And then we're like, all right, let's do it. So we'll sit and try to work it out and make it a song. But every now and then we have somewhere I'm just like, I hear a melody in my head and I sing like a little hum it, and then I'll try to write lyrics, and then he writes music around it. That's a little more difficult, but some songs have started out that way. Mostly we start with the music and then write together.
Awesome. Do you have a concept usually in mind, or does the story unfold while you're writing?
We let the song dictate.
Yeah.
We learned that early on with Hyderabad. We had written this one song, and it was just like thinking too much about, and we later had a song called Overthinking, kind of about this process.
I love it.
We almost didn't write the song. And, you know, because it was like, all we kept hearing was, you know, you could be my savior. And I was like, God, but people are going to think we're Christian artists and we're not really, and, you know, this and that. And I don't know about it. And it was like, you know what, screw it. We always said we're just going to be fearless. Let's just put it out there. And it became a fan favorite, Savior.
Awesome.
And it was like, that taught me. You just let the song come, whatever's meant to be, you put it out there and believe in it.
Yeah.
You know, and so that's kind of what we do. We just let it happen. You know, sometimes it's about what we're going through. More times we pull from many different people to culminate into like a pretend person. We don't want it to be too much like you're reading my diary.
Right.
You know, so we want it to be universal so people can take from it what they want. But kind of just let it write itself.
Yeah.
It's a little more difficult with Dauzat St. With Hyderabad, you know, it's a rock band.
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
It's got drums, bass, guitar, and then you throw the vocals on top, you're done. Maybe a little, you know, sprinkling of dust of like electronica or something. But it's pretty straightforward. Dauzat St. it's just kind of like, do we add drums, or is it going to kill the vibe of the song? Do we keep it vocals only? Do we add a little electric guitar? Maybe just some piano or keyboards? It's really too loose to know what to do almost. So it's a lot more labor intensive to kind of produce each song, which is why we're a lot slower at it, because you can kill it easily with too much production.
Oh my God, yes. I'm guilty of that. I'm trying to like, less is more.
Right.
You know? It's not always easy.
Right.
It's like, oh, there's something missing. But allowing it to be, I think, like just like letting the song take charge. That's the
I think that's the key.
That's the key. Although sometimes I try to write from a concept, but I find it harder.
Yeah.
You know,
it's if you're writing for like song placements, you know, we've written things and submitted for like movies or TV or commercials. It's easier then.
Absolutely.
You have a concept and you're not attached to it, so you can just kind of write it out usually and just bang it out, and then that's it. And you let it do its thing, if it does or not. But when it's something you're going to be performing on stage, it's
you
like
got to identify with it as an artist,
right? Yeah, it's got to mean something,
yeah.
You know, because there's, like I said, the biggest compliment is when I look out and people are crying at my show because it touches them. And there are times where I'm up there trying not to cry because it just hits you sometimes. Like,
that is the best feeling. It's the worst and the best because you're trying to like, oh, keep your shit together.
Right.
But I love that when I'm getting emotional, then I know that
it's powerful.
It's powerful, and
Right.
being authentic.
Yes.
And I've seen you guys, and you've done that. And what's coming up for the future with you guys?
Well, I mean, like I said, I've highlighted all the positives of cancer, and the beautiful parts of it. Not to say there were not really tough days. And there were times where I was just like, people would send me sketchbooks, and they're sending me, art things, and, just take time, just draw. And at some point with the chemo and everything and the radiation, and I was so tired and felt so empty. Just absolutely depleted of everything that I thought, I don't know if I'll ever be creative again. I mean, I sat there just like this, trying to scribble, and I'm like, I just have nothing in me right now to give. And I really was worried about that. But I was just kind of take this as it comes, just, whatever. And played a lot of Words with Friends and solitaire because you could just kind of like not think. And then I started feeling like I could feel it swirling, and a little bit more creativity and a little bit more. So I think I'm finally getting that back.
Yeah.
And definitely have a lot to write about. Last weekend, Matt and I were in the studio all weekend, just really working on a lot of song ideas. That we put everything aside for this. And so we're picking back up again. And I think we were like, we already taken a year off. We're just going to take off more and do a whole album. We weren't sure if we were going to do an EP or an album.
Yeah.
At first, last year, we're like, 2018, we played 70 shows in the first 6 months. I mean, we were like hitting it and writing in the hotel. We were just going. Yeah. It was like, all right, we're going to put out an EP. We can get it out fast, and maybe an EP at the end of the year. And that was the schedule when we were pushing ourselves. And then this happened. It was just like nothing. And now we're like, all right, you know what? Maybe it's not so bad to take our time, put out a whole album, and really just enjoy the process again. Without that pressure of you got to put something out, you got to put something out.
Yeah.
So we're just going to do that, and hopefully start playing shows at some point. Probably around here, regional things, and not travel too terribly much, and then pick back up again. Maybe in the fall or spring.
Okay.
We're just trying to not set that kind of a pace again.
It's time to still heal and come back to find your new path.
Right.
Yeah.
You got to find the balance. You want to push yourself enough that you're actually making things happen. But I don't want to hit the wall because I started too much too quickly.
Mm-hmm.
So,
Where can people find you?
Dauzat St, and I'll spell that DAUZATSTMARIE. Sounds like a nursery rhyme.
It does.
And then again, like I said, Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, not that much, but every now and then. So we're on all of those. And please hit us up. We love talking to people. We love connecting and just really making friends, not fans.
I love that. Thank you for saying that, because I was just about to say, if you need another cool new friend, hit up Heather, because we're all here in this together and supporting each other, and everybody has a story to tell, and everybody wants to be heard and be seen, and you will be. You just have to allow yourself to be out there, be vulnerable, and have the courage to just come forward and say, hey, I'm here.
Right.
Yep.
Own the space you're in, because each of us deserves that space.
Yeah.
And just make sure you're putting out there what you want to get back. That's it.
And that's the best line to end it on. Thank you so much
Thanks
for
for
being
having
here.
me. It's great.
This was so inspiring and amazing, and find her and go and see them live, because they are amazing. And I don't really say that because, right? We've seen a lot of bands and for especially in LA, like getting out to see someone play, it's so hard because everybody's busy. Yeah. But then when you get out and you're like, oh my God, this was so inspiring. That's how I felt when I saw you guys. I was just like, I was crying and like in tears, like almost the entire time. But then, but I don't know, just like it did something to me that not many artists can do that.
Thank you. Thank you.
And that's powerful.
It's now or never. Wake up, this is my time. Take it to the front line. Or do I die? It's up to me. Wake up, this is my time. Shoot me through the sky. I got